compounded the whole challenge, and it has increased the risks of
these boats are of primary and maintained through repeated power. They were not designed for modern demand or loads.
Of that is not true. They were just class of staff, and that is not enough to criticize the boats. We can take a fair price. Talk of just 2 bags of chaff with a large boats.
Passengers need to
The boat is already loaded and the boat is already owned.
So when they are coming in the river, the boats initially have been taking maybe 20 to 30 people for it to be full. But at that time they do overload. When they're supposed to carry 30 or 20 people, they come carrying 39 and 40.
Muna tunanin da wanda ya zama cewa suna da rai da wanda suka rasu a cikin wannan jirgi da mutum.
We are assuming that the total number of people inside that boat were about 40. People are saying they are up to 50 and all sorts. Truly, that's not. What we witnessed was that amount, 40. Also, with large working equipment, even when such accident happens, you wouldn't be able to control it.
Regulation and safety oversight for inland waterways are the responsibility of the National Inland Waterways Authority. At state level, the Ministry of Transport is expected to enforce standard and ensure compliance. In Nguru, however, those agencies are largely absent.
as a government, we can't continue blaming the victims. We live and come and do the right, improve their improve. We just ensure that
That would say at least the boats, at least we take 10 to 20 people. Supposed to be the number of the people that anybody will take is limited, is specified. And there is at least anyone must wear that life jacket.
on ABCD and the benefit of avoiding ABCD. So these are things that we will do, and these are we have already initiated the plans. Our order details are rendered. We are discussing with our partners from the United Nations organizations to come in and keen and support and make sure that this we didn't create a gap in ensuring that the committee have won the process. Next week will be a market day. We will still go to market in Jigawa State, and God forbid if we didn't act fast, there will be risks of putting our people on a boat without life jacket, and this is avoidable, and we'll inshallah avoid it.
For communities along the river, water transport supports livelihoods. Fish and agriculture depend on river access. Traders use boats to reach markets. Students cross rivers to attend school. When water transport stops, the economy stops. The river is a major crossing point because there's no bridge, and people rely on boats every day to travel, trade, and access basic services. I have someone I attended same primary school with. He also died, seeking for help from the governor of the state and chairman to bring peace regarding water transportation, even if life jacket, that when you fall you yourself out.
There was modernized boats, the ones that are fault are wooden and continue our business with other channels.
The question asks, those in the government that capture such places in the body since the inception of democratic rule, are they not part of the electorate in Europe without case? Over the last 25 years, is there no resources on the coffers of the government? Why has nothing been built for this community?
Government have almost everything. If you see people going into the water, it's with the intention to catch fishes. The origin of this place for fishermen or hunters and farmers, but never witnessed much incidents.
I'm sending my condolences to life lost as a result of the accident that happened in Adiani, Togaribi. May God forgive the life lost. Residents say the risk is not only real, it is repeated. What they want is not just reassurance, but real changes that make daily travel safer. The river remains a lifeline for communities like Unguru, but the recurrent pattern of waterway accidents shows that the current system is not sustainable. The question is not whether people will continue using the river, but whether they will be able to travel safely.
This is Political Arena on S24 television. Welcome back from that break. I am your host, Abubakar Turaki. As President Bola Ahmed Tinubu marks his third year in office, many Nigerians are reflecting on the country's progress, challenge, and the future of leadership ahead of 2027 general elections. The 2027 election will be another important moment for Nigerians to decide the kind of leadership they want. Citizens will be looking for presidents who can address the insecurity, improve the economy, create jobs, and unite the country at large. Today, we will be discussing quality, vision, and leadership styles Nigerians should consider when choosing their next president in 2027. I am joined by a public analyst, Dr. Akin Ahola. Doctor, welcome to Political Arena on S24 television.
Thank you very much for having me. Good day to you.
It's a pleasure to speak to you, Dr. APC mark 3 years in office. How can you assess the quality of leadership under this APC as a Nigerian and as a public analyst?
When you get to position without preparation, mentally, psychologically, you are not sure of your job profile. job content, we cannot be but where we are now. The president, on the day his unity just says subsidy gone. It was not based on some panel that have prepared a blueprint on if I remove subsidy,
what is going to happen?
What's happening next? And then milestones and things to be done. It was not specified, just a slogan. When you run a whole country by a slogan, what are you going to get? And the meaning of it's so unfortunate that we don't even know the meaning of the word that we use. Okay, this week now, President Tinubu said he approved 1,000 forest guards.
To rescue.
What is the meaning of a guard? You guard a property that is under safety. Property have been looted already. You're not appointing guard.
So it's beyond the approval.
No, they thought the term guard. What are they guarding now? People are already been taken away.
This place.
If you guarded the people in the last 1 year, people will not be able to even come and take anybody away. So the idea of using guard is a misnomer. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand you are heading to.
It is now salvage crew that is supposed to appoint, not a forest guard.
Doctor, from what you are saying, you are totally disenchanted with the level of how this government is operating virtually in all aspects of security.
We're talking about for 2 years now, state police. Some government were pulled, national, they do something, they appointed the committee under the issue now to produce a blueprint. Who does it take? There have been so many commissions, but the bottom line is that it will appear to me and to Nigeria that the president does not want to any state police. He wants to be in control of
What lessons should Nigerians learn from the current administration ahead of 2027 elections?
There's no lesson to be learned, just marooned. We are now maybe 12 president candidates.
Different political parties.
Small enclaves. Tinubu is only one. There's only one because they have to one knows money only.
But not to issue of incumbency, we saw what happened at 2015. How the incumbent president lost the election, which was former President Jonathan.
There were two serious parties then. Now we have one party and then 15 cronies that have no organic relationship. See the primaries now. They were just bought. They were just counting 140, 200, 1,000. Is that democracy? So they call it the same people who are recycled. Are we not tired of saying Atiku? Are we not tired of saying Peter? We are not tired of saying Donald. These are the people, the political class in the country. They all have the same tendency. The tendency is for them to just take over our affairs, loot our system, buy SUVs, borrow money. Okay, we have 3 budgets now. Which budget is Nigeria operating? None. Who is talking about education? The 2 loan. You gave loan now to students. When they finish, how would they get jobs? Where are the factories?
Null fund.
Yeah. You take 5-year loan, you are now owing almost 3 million. And
but they made a statement now, everybody can have access to school.
School for what? The people who have got the school, have they gotten jobs now? The people have gone to school, who even paid their own money.
Well, the federal government have been advocating for a paradigm shift from depending on degree to skills.
Which skills? Do they have skill centers anywhere? You see, at university now, 304 universities, all the business admin, economics, literature. They are not doing technological skills. Even if you are trained now as a top-flight engineer, where is the job? Where is the job? All governments have been sold up. and killed. Edokuta is dead. Open is dead. Bill is dead. What is there? There is no avenue for me to take no avenue. Inflation has ravaged everything.
So you mean Nigeria is actually on a ticking time bomb?
Well, human nature, we are resilient. We are surviving. We will continue surviving. We will be in survival mode many years to come. We are being paid 200,000 a month and that's paying rent 4 million per annum. I just surviving. We are stressed. Everybody is stressed. You are buying petrol at 1,400. A full tank is 80,000. Petrol alone, I need 1 tank a week. You have 300,000 petrol. Everybody is quiet. Everything looks quiet. But we are on ticking bomb.
Doctor, let's shift a little bit from politics and speak on security. We recently saw how the southern part of the country was being under attack. We saw attack in places like Oyo, Kwara. Do you think that it has a political reason behind that attack?
No, you see, everything, no single factor. But we must know that the last 3-4 years started from Borno. It came to Kaduna, it came to Benue, then it came to Niger, then it came to Kwara, then it came to Oyo, to Ekiti, it's going to Lagos. So the whole country will be enveloped. Once you have wound and you don't treat it, it will become septic. You understand? Basically, Nigeria was wounded from Borno State, northeast, and the wound is been...
It has engulfed the entire country.
Yeah, and we have been saying state police, no state police, state police.
So, Doctor, what can you say about the strong delegation that was sent by the president and 1,000 forest guards?
It's fake delegation. You bring with full white dress.
So we saw the strong delegation, which comprises of Minister of Defense, National Security Advisor, Chief of Staff to the President, presidential aides, and many more.
Who knows what to do? You need to rescue people who are in the forest. And most recently on a quiet to go and dig. What is the regular being with Agbada, with white dress, topless? They are necessarily solving problems.
No, Doctor, we have taken a step forward.
So that is a step backward because they are gone now and they come back. The captives are now 2 weeks in captivity. What is the delegation? I said, hand of the
Okay, Doctor, due to time, as someone that has worked in this country, you saw the leadership of Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, and now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ahead of 2027, what message do you have for Nigerian youth in ensuring they vote for the credible person that can salvage this country?
Voting a cycle of coronation of leaders, cycling of leaders since 1999 is a journey to nowhere.
It's a journey to nowhere.
Unless the change is stopped up, because I don't want to see the winner take all for you to pay for all the money to pay marriage, and you have to be good to investment afterwards. That's not a system that can reward the youth. It's not. Absolutely, the president will win because they have all the money that wanted. Look, they pulled 800 result demand to kill.
Doctor, these are all allegations. It's really a pleasure speaking to us here on S24. And I thank you so much for speaking to us here on S24. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must take decisive measures in keeping our country safe and accountable. And that is what we have on S24 political arena. Stay tuned for our S24 commentary. Bye for now.
Youth are supposed to be united and focused in the sense that we're the leaders of tomorrow. In fact, we're the leaders of today.
Yes, no more tomorrow.
But our testing ground is this particular council. If we cannot manage a youth council, how could we be trusted with the nation?
Hello and welcome to Future Minds, your weekly deep dive into policies, politics, and the people shaping Nigerians' future. My name is Emir Osman Adam, and I'm your host for this amazing show. Today we'll be looking at the issue of the NYCN, which is National Youth Council of Nigeria, and the factional leadership that has evolved in it. Due to the factional leadership, the federal government has to step in and create an interim committee that will focus on organization from creative leadership, partnership, and discussing issues that will promote the Nigerian youth forward. I'm here with the interim committee chairman who will be introducing himself and presenting.
My name is Barrister Barry Ibrahim Shehu. I am the interim management committee chairman of the NYCN.
I want us to discuss and see how will the IMC manage the affairs of the council, which is for 1 year, organize leadership elections, how will you collaborate with the Ministry of Youth and other ministries to see that overall the goal is to promote youth participation or the welfare of Nigerian youth in general. How do we even to this place we are in? What's the rollout that made NYCN become this functional within DS?
Okay, as you rightly observed, NYCN used to be a united front for Nigerian youth, where policies that affect the youth directly or indirectly have been championed by the council, where the council serves as a bridge between the Nigerian youth and the government, where several various youth organizations have been affiliated to work hand in hand with the NYCN. Unfortunately, I may say due to natural greed,
Should we call it personal interest?
personal interests, and human desires, a lot of problems erupted, wherein we have factional leaders, each one claiming to be the president of the NYCN. This problem does not stop at the national level, but goes down to state levels, where state chapters of the NYCN also have factions, have this particular chairman, another chairman, another chairman. Unfortunately, an event happened in one of the countries where a youth program is going on, and Nigeria's president of the council was called upon, and 3 people emerged.
Stood up, exactly.
Yes, and that was an international embarrassment for
yes,
Nigeria.
and I think the minister had to interfere before one person was allowed to represent.
So you see, it doesn't give a good image of the youth.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a good image of Nigeria.
The country itself.
Sure.
Exactly.
So youth are supposed to be united and focused in the sense that we're the leaders of tomorrow. In fact, we're the leaders of today.
Yes, no more tomorrow.
But our testing ground is this particular council. If we cannot manage a youth council, how could we be trusted with the nation? So there are a lot of this leadership crisis, and constitutional aberrations where the constitution is being manipulated. The constitution to suit his own interest and to suit his desires. So this has become a very serious problem that threatens the very existence of the council itself.
And I think that's the reason the IMC come in.
Yes.
And that is where you're playing your role as the
so
chairperson.
to solve these problems, there is need to come in. So there are a lot of petitions and counter petitions being tabled to the Minister for Youth Development, and he presented them to the Corporate Affairs Commission, who registered all corporations in Nigeria. And if you look at sections 8, sub 1, C and D of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, you see that the Registrar General is given the powers to serve as a supervisor for all registered institutions. And whether there is this kind of problems, he is empowered to withdraw the certificate and set aside the trustees and put in an interim management committee that will steer the affairs of any such organization before stabilizing it and doing the necessary thing. So we are brought on board with the mandate that first and foremost, we should manage the affairs of the NYCN for a period of 1 year. Secondly, we should look at the constitution of the NYCN and see where there are lapses and loopholes, make amendments, and then conduct a free, fair, and inclusive election.
From the moment where I call the chairman of the interim committee, definitely there are people that might see it as something necessary, and others might see it as you interfering in the affairs of the organization of the council exactly. How do you handle those particular criticism?
So far, we have received a whole lot of goodwills from at various levels, various organizations, both private and public. Actually, I have not received any condemnation so far.
That's good.
I have not received any condemnation. I have been receiving words of advice, guidance from senior stakeholders in the council, and based on this, we are very, very much optimistic that even though we may not say everybody will like the decision, but so far it has been accepted.
When it comes to election, as the chairman of the interim committee, what are you trying to do differently? Maybe if you were to come up with any election, what are the concrete mechanism you think you can put in place for a free, fair, and transparent process?
You see, elections naturally come with their purpose, but with proper arrangements, being fair and giving each and every aspirant a level playing ground, I'm very sure we will succeed in giving up free, fair elections. So on our part, this is just like less than 2 weeks after our inauguration, but we have kick-started. We have an election preparation committee on ground. We will inaugurate them very soon, so that they will look at what is obtainable, what is the problem on ground, and then how do we achieve a free, fair election for the NYCN. Having taken cue from other national bodies like Ghana and other countries, from them and see how we conduct free and fair elections for the NYCN.
The major reason for the problem was someone altering the constitution of the council.
Yes.
Like, is there anything done to agree to their earlier suggestion? I know it wasn't suggestion, but let's look at it as a suggestion of increasing the age limit from 35 to 40, or is not something that will be considered?
You see, it is something that we consult.
Sure.
We'll have to do a lot wide of consultations. If it will serve the best interest of Nigerian youth, we go for it. If it won't, then we'll have to look for a better alternative.
The Nigerian youth will be seeing it as like 35 is very limited, because so many of the youth will not even be starting to understand what exactly are they going to put on the table, or what exactly are they going to contribute until at their early or mid 30s. If limited to 35. There are so many people that will feel they are sidelined or they won't even get the chance to participate in this particular process.
Left for my mind, it is my personal feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think that is
An excuse.
Yes, it is not. Because if you look at it, you have leaders 20, we have seen leaders 35 and 40. Five.
Big number.
It's a big number. If 35% has also
Sure.
they are still within the same bracket. So it all depends on the mindset. It depends on the preparedness of the person in issue, not the age. To me, age doesn't matter.
There are reports of like internal crisis, or let me say internal resistance from some former council executives who are like feeling sidelined.
Okay.
Like, is there any way that IMC can look into it and bring them on board so that they will feel, okay, this is not a biased committee. We are trying to bring everyone on board.
You see, naturally, people will grumble.
Sure.
Naturally, somebody will feel, oh, they are doing with this one, they're not doing with me. But at the level of the IMC, we have no friend, we have no enemy. Each and everyone is our friend. And we are not after who you are, but we are after what you will offer. Our interest is, let's get it right this time around. Let's make the NYCN great again. So whoever has something to offer, please, our doors are absolutely open. Somebody chatted me on Facebook and make some valuable observations. I drew him. I made him part of a particular committee that we are intending to inaugurate, because from his points, I have seen that he is willing to
help. He has something to contribute.
So anybody who wishes to help, who wishes to contribute, is an open thing.
One of the major responsibilities is creating partnership, as I mentioned earlier, with ministries, not just the Ministry of Youth.
Sure.
Because at the forefront of NYCN is youth empowerment.
Sure.
And as the IMC chairman, you still have a long way to go. We're talking about like you haven't even covered 0.5 of the tenure you ought to hold on to. 1 year is a long term.
Sure.
But like if we look at it from the point of view of we're Nigeria, we have the largest number, the youth are the largest number.
Sure.
What are you trying to put in place like to bring forth the youth empowerment like at the forefront of this committee?
Okay, you see, as I've said earlier, we have received a lot of goodwill. We went for a particular program last week, and we met with the DG Smedan, DG Sek, the director of Nigeria Youth Academy, and many other MDS. And they have given us their weights that we should come up with anything that will impact on the youth. They are willing and ready to partner with us. If a medical doctor friend met me, he sent me a proposal of how Nigerian youth will benefit from medical outreaches and what have you. So, and we are just like 2 weeks old. So all these things are we have to get prepared, face them at once. We already have our working plan, which is subject to approval by members of the IMC. So once we roll out those programs, I'm telling you, Nigerian youth will surely know that within this 1 year, they will benefit a lot. They will bring a lot of programs that will impact directly on the lives of Nigerian youth.
Finally, as your 1 year mandate run its course, what would success look like for you? And would you like this interim committee to be remembered in the history of Nigerian youth leadership?
Definitely. People are saying 1 year, 1 year. For us at the committee, we will try as much as we can not to even reach 1 year. So that by 6 months, 7 months, if we're able to carry out our assignments, before then we'll go back to our normal engagements out there.
And what is that normal engagement?
All of us have our work, all members of the committee. Like me, I'm a private legal practitioner and also a law teacher. And Some of the members are also class they are lecturers in various institutions. Others are in. We all have what we are doing.
What you're doing exactly.
Yes. So our prayer is, let us carry out this mandate. We know it's not an easy task.
It's not.
It's not an easy task, but we seek the cooperation of all Nigerian youth so that we achieve this mandate and hand over a strong and united youth council for Nigerians.
I'm 100% sure, like, the factions will watch this. I would love you to, like, pass a message for unity, peace, progress in a minute.
As I've said earlier, we have no enemies. Faction, whichever one you come from, I do not know any of the faction leaders personally. Personally, I have never had contact with any of them at any time, anywhere. So each and every one of the factions belong to us. Let us come together and set the record straight and move on.
We do something in S24. It's called rapid fire. I don't want to put you on the hot spot, but I'll ask you 3 questions and you must answer it.
What if I don't have an answer?
No, you definitely look for an answer. It's definitely...
You know, in court, you answer yes or no.
Yeah. So here you will answer, you pick one out of it. Okay. Politics or business?
Politics.
Why?
It covers everything.
How does politics cover business, Barrister?
If we don't have nice policies made by politicians, then
I see what you did here. You're using your law on me. Election or appointment?
Elections.
Election or appointment?
Election.
Election or appointment?
Election.
Okay, I see what you did here. Thank you so much for watching Future Minds. You had a conversation around NYCN and the interim committee that has been appointed by the federal government. And one of the invention is to control controversy within the NYCN. We are youths. We are trying to see how we can position ourselves at the forefront of leadership in the country. But the way things are going in NYCN, I don't want to say I'm not seeing a brighter future for the youth. We just have to put it at the back of our mind, like we must bring in unity. We must understand that we need peace, and progress must be something we are looking forward to. That is one thing that will keep us going, and that is something that will make sure the youth are always remembered in governance. This is S24 TV. My name remains Samira Usman Adam. Thank you for watching.
Hello, my name is John Costa, founder of the Conflict Memory Education Centre, an independent museum based in Leicester, United Kingdom. My vision was to create 10 documentary archives that focus on recent wars and periods of political violence. Each one tells human stories behind global events that continue to shape our world. The aim is educational, offering material that helps people understand the lived experience of those affected by conflict and how these experiences connect to wider historical and political developments. The Conflict Memory Education Centre supports both formal and informal education. All material is made available for use in workshops, academic courses and exhibitions. Through film, photography, audio recordings and new media, we open conversations about complex histories and their ongoing relevance. In this short explainer video, I'd like to introduce our latest archive, Palam, which means bridge in both Sinhalese and Tamil. Palam explores the civil war in Sri Lanka and its long aftermath, documenting personal stories of survival, loss, and the search for reconciliation. It begins by examining the historical and political roots of the conflict, including colonial legacies, post-independent tensions, and the rise of Tamil militancy. It then traces the course of the 26-year civil war, from the violence of Black July in 1983 to the war's final stages in 2009, through the voices of civilians who lived through it. The archive also addresses atrocity, accountability and human rights, investigating the issue of missing persons and the long struggle for truth and justice. Finally, it considers the aftermath and reconstruction period, documenting the human cost of displacement, the challenges of rebuilding and the ongoing impact on Sri Lankan society. Through these themes, Palam reflects on how individuals and communities continue to live with the memories of war and how the act of remembering itself becomes part of healing. By developing these archives, the Conflict Memory Education Centre documents conflict from a community perspective. Each archive is a collaborative effort and remains open to further contributions and partnerships. So far, we've created 5 archives: Afghanistan, Iraq, Ukraine, Chechnya, and one here in Nigeria called Hadari, or Dark Cloud, in partnership with S24 television. Also, by the end of the year, we'll be launching 4 additional archives: Pakistan, Cambodia, Rwanda, and Latin America. If you'd like to contribute or collaborate, please get in touch. Thank you for watching.
Do you remember Stella Obasanjo? She was Nigeria's first lady and the wife of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. In 2005, she died in Spain after complications from cosmetic surgery at a private clinic in Marbella. A Spanish court later convicted a surgeon in connection with the case, citing medical negligence, a reminder that surgical outcomes depend heavily on professional standards, proper monitoring, and ethical medical practice. But this conversation is bigger than one person. Every year, millions of people around the world undergo cosmetic procedures such as liposuction, tummy tucks, Brazilian butt lift, and breast augmentations. Some individuals pursue these surgeries for legitimate health or reconstructive reasons after significant weight loss, childbirth, injury, or to correct medical conditions. However, a large portion of cosmetic surgery today is driven by aesthetic and fashion, the desire to match trendy body types popularized by celebrities, influencers, and social media culture. In today's entertainment industry, cosmetic enhancement can feel less like a personal choice and more like an unspoken requirement. Many celebrities appear to go to extreme lengths to achieve exaggerated curves, ultra-slim waist, sculpted jawlines, or ageless skin. In some cycles, it can seem as though you cannot compete, trend, or remain visible without upgrading your appearance. For some public figures, transformation becomes part of branding, a marketing strategy that fuels attention, engagement, and relevance. Dramatic before and after reviews often generate headlines, sponsorship, and social media buzz. The danger is that these highly curated images set unrealistic standards for everyday people. What is often presented as natural beauty may involve multiple procedures, strict maintenance, editing, lightning, and filters. The full story, the risk, the recovery pain, the complications, the revision is rarely shared as loudly as the glamorized results. The pressure behind this decision is powerful. Beauty standards shift quickly, but the emotional drive to keep up remains constant. Social media amplifies surgical enhanced bodies without transparency about maintenance, medical supervision, or digital alteration. Beauty is diverse, trends fade, surgical complications can last a lifetime. Health should never be sacrificed for visibility, validation, or virality.
A new tech frontier is emerging, and it's not Silicon Valley, it's Africa. Across the continent, startups are solving problems that global giants ignored. In 2024 alone, African startups raised over $3.5 billion, defying global venture slowdowns. Venture capital funding grew by 14% last year, led by fintech, logistics, and clean energy innovators. In Nigeria, digital payments are transforming commerce. In Kenya, mobile money now serves over 90% of adults. In Rwanda, drones deliver blood to remote hospitals. It's a tech boom built on necessity, not luxury. century, but challenges remain. Only 43% of Africans have internet access, and unreliable power source holds progress. Global investors are watching, but they are also cautious, calling for better regulations and infrastructure stability. Still, there's a quiet revolution on the continent, and it's not powered by oil or aid, but by imagination. The question is no longer whether Africa can innovate, it's whether the world is ready for Africa's innovation.
On S24 television, where we celebrate the thinkers, dreamers, and doers in the creative industry and its future. Today, our spotlight is on a young creative whose journey proves that art and activism can coexist beautifully. We're having Ali Mamalon, whose pen name is Ali Lawan, here in the studio today. And let me say, we're diving into what took Ali Lawan to the creative world and what was his inspiration. Ali, thank you for coming to Creative World. I am very sure viewers will love to know Ali Lawan is and what he does.
My name is Ali Malone. I am an advocate, sometimes spoken word artist. I study accounting in University of Nigeria, and I'm into I'm into leadership. I'm a 2024 LMI fellow and a global trader.
Okay, he studied accounting. He's a spoken word artist, a writer, an activist, and a youth leader. If you listen, he mentioned he was a fellow of the Legislative Mentorship Initiative. If I could recall, you served as a clerk in your parliament. That's 2024?
2024,
exactly.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Let's go deep into what you do and your journey. You launched your debut novel the day you were graduating.
Yes.
It's both symbolic and let me say, inspiring. But I would love to know what made you have that thought that, okay, I'm graduating today, let me release this book today. And if I am sure, the name of the book is Tears on a Red Rose. Exactly. So, what was your inspiration? What made you think this is the right time for me to release that book? What was going on in your mind on that day, and how did the moment shape your creative journey?
Okay, so firstly, the inspiration of the book was a trip. We had come to Abuja with my family, and it was New Year, and it was the first time, a boy from Yusufari and then living in Kano coming to Abuja for New Year, and there was fireworks. So we were all staying up late, to watch the fireworks, and I remember I was writing in an exercise book, and it wasn't even a laptop. I wanted to write a book about family, and it somehow ended up being about two sisters who just went on a roller coaster journey to find each other. And I can say that the timing for the book itself, the plan for publishing the book, it was supposed to come earlier than
your graduation.
The graduation, because I wrote the book in JSS3, so it took 3 years between finishing the book and actually publishing the book. I remember the plan for having it launched on my graduation was actually suggested by one of my teachers, Mr. Shaw, my literature teacher. I showed him the book. He was so excited, and he was like, we have to launch the book here in the school on the graduation day.
They cannot allow that cool talent to leave the school premises. And if I can say, you've told us the inspiration behind Tears on a Red Rose. How do you see storytelling as a tool for social or political change, as a young activist or a young leader?
I think storytelling is present in almost everything we do in the political space, climate change, we just have different forms. And people struggle to understand certain forms of it. But when you come down to art and literature and that kind of storytelling, it's something that a lot of people can connect with. It's kind of like social media, you know, there are billions of people on social media because, you know, everyone knows how to operate a phone and handles notifications and etc. So when a lot of people connect with something, it automatically becomes a platform that can be used to shape their lives and push policies and effect positive change. So I see storytelling playing a very big role in that aspect.
You move between literature, spoken word, and activism seamlessly. Like sometimes if I see you doing something, I'll be like, oh, Ali is doing well. But how do you balance creativity with advocacy?
So it's creativity has always been a part. It has been there since I was young, and I do understand the sometimes you get I think the term for it is there's really no balance. Balance is a myth. So sometimes it all depends on the time. Sometimes you're in a creative space, sometimes you're high on news and you're writing, sometimes advocacy calls you and you are at a boy child conference or you're at a global shaper meeting. So I think you just have to sometimes go with the flow, but try to always carry along your the identities that shape you and the identities that you want to present to the society and the identities that matter to your goals.
Let's go to your journey through leadership, please. You are a co-lead at Peace Nigeria. And sometimes, you know how leadership is. There is policy, there is policy engagement, there is leadership approach, and there is you as a creative. What is one thing that influence your background in this three cycle? The leadership focus, the policy engagement, and your creative life.
So I think one thing that connects all these three is just the desire to help or make an impact, and that's present in all three. With creativity, you can do that with telling stories, with policies, with advocacy. It's all about the people. It's all about making a positive impact, and I think that's what we are trying to do in Pace Nigeria as well, especially with young people. So they are coming up and they also want to give back to their societies and create a positive impact. We are in a pivotal point in Nigeria where we really need people to give back instead of just taking. You know, we had independence recently, and I saw quote like, okay, what has your country done with the Pace, the leader of Pace? Yeah, I have a very good friend. He posted, okay, not what your country has done for you, what have you contributed? I saw that. Exactly, what have you contributed to your country? So I think that's what connects all these things, the contribution.
In every career, there are challenges. And the challenge in creative industry, I think, is something that shows on people's face. What was the challenge? Like, how do you navigate through it?
So one of the challenges is that, okay, people say, okay, who will read your books? People don't read, you know, they don't take literature seriously. But I really did not put much focus on that. I think one of the main things is you have to trust in your craft. Of course, one of the major challenges you face starting off is finding an environment. So I started off the journey very lonely. I started off alone and very young. There were not many creatives around me. I was just, you know, but we found platforms. Then they were very minimal. And now we have a lot of platforms. You see people have BAF, FLP. The creative space is kind of moving now. So that challenge is kind of being addressed in a way. And I think one of the challenges I also face is where to go in terms of poetry and prose. So a lot of people know me as a poet, but actually I started prose first. I started prose very, very young. But now, because poetry has this spotlight and it's fast, you can write a poem in a minute, you can perform it in a few minutes, you're trending. But it takes you almost 6 years to to write a book or a novel.
I know someone might be asking, what's the difference between what's the difference between poetry and a prose? I don't think. Do you mind highlighting this?
Sure. So when we say prose writing, we're essentially talking about books, novels, a story that is with characterization, with settings and everything. Poetry is a sort of compressed form of language that has brevity and has stanzas. So it can appear on a page, it can be a few lines, but it's deep, it's the kind of language that really touches you. Or pages of stories. So this is carrying along
like if I put it away, like identity crisis, where do you want to be identified? Are you a prose writer or a poetry writer? And I think I want to ask you, as the creative industry is evolving, there are people you have to get up to right from childhood to this. To mention three that I think, okay, the most influential people I think shaped my as a writer and change maker.
It's very hard to name name three when a lot of people have shaped you. But I would say Dr. Maria Sidi would be one of the first on my list. She's the founder of FLP, and FLP happens to be one of the first platforms that I joined. And that's where I got to groom my poetry as well. She's someone I really look up to because she somehow balances between her medical career and her poetry, and she writes very, very beautifully. And I would say, I'm tempted to mention my friends.
No friends.
No friends. Okay. The creative industry. Let's call it Salim. I call it Salim.
No, come Salim. I don't know why he loves poems. Is he love poems? I would say, and like I think. Let me keep quiet before Caleb sue me.
Yeah, Caleb, as his mentioned, spoken word yours was the inspiration to and I didn't but beyond the creative space, he's a very influential figure, and I really look up to him. And then it's very hard to mention. I'm just thinking about so many other people. But yeah, I'll go with Antina Siba as the third person. She's the curator of the last Cap Fest, the Cap Fest 2.0, the Kano National Poetry Festival. And Antina Siba has been doing so much for the poetry space. And she also sells books. She's a medical lab official at AKTH.
Is it a must for these creative people to be from a medical background or what? And I think one thing I would love to say is I was expecting you to mention one person, which everyone around you know who that person is. But since you did not mention, I will not be the one to say it. And you know what I'm talking about exactly. Yes, she is, so I don't want to mention her name.
You have to give me more slots.
No, I don't want to give you more slots. Okay, we are part of the northern Nigeria, and we know what it means to stand out in the north in every aspect of the creative industry. How do you think the north is evolving creatively? You mentioned some earlier, but I would love you to take it in depth. Like, what is the north doing differently to the creative industry?
I think the North is bringing a lot of culture and strength and creativity to the industry. We have a certain kind of flair in the North. I think we've seen that even from the cultural carnivals at ABU, and there's just something very, very powerful about telling our own stories, especially when they have not been in the limelight before. So we are at a point in our literature where, okay, we need stories from the North. We need to tell our own stories. And, when we talk about literature in Nigeria, the North has been kind of lagging. But the North is so rich. There's so much to tap into and so many stories to tell. Even with the recent book by Nana Sule, Not So Terrible People, how she really dabbled into the magical realism, Aljanu, and so many. There's no shortage of stories to tell in the North. So I think we are beginning to realize that, and we are having so many people coming into the space with those fresh eyes and fresh muses and fresh ideas, and just that, northern flair to add to it. So we're looking forward to goals.
Recently, I don't know if you've seen it, to be one of the social media influencers from Lagos. He came to the north, explored the north, and tell stories that we ourselves overlooked. And I think I can clearly understand with you when you say there is like the north flair and there are many things we can tap into, stories we can perform on the stage. What about whenever you're on stage, there is something about audience that I notice. Like they pay attention. Is it that you're passing a message to them, or I don't know, is it something you, is this a sort of message in your poetry that you feel you are leaving young people with?
Yeah, whenever I'm on stage, one of my most honest goals is to really connect with the audience. I feel like there's no point stepping onto the stage and stepping off without people perceiving what you're trying to say or taking away something, even if it's just a feeling, even if it's not a natural concrete message, even if it's just a feeling, you have taken away things. So you have to give your audience something, and especially with poetry, where people usually say, okay, big words, complexity, poetry should be complex and why. But when it comes to the stage, it's really up to you, the artist, to break down and communicate with your audience. So I always want to create a poem, a piece. Whenever I'm crafting a piece, it's always about one question: can the audience relate with this? If my answer is yes, then I think I'm good to go.
That's very powerful. So you're using it to capture us, and I think here we've got you. There is something my boss do. She call it rapid fire.
Okay.
She will ask you to choose between so many things. So here in the creative space, I'll ask you to choose writing. Oh, sorry, not writing. I know you will choose writing definitely. Music or movies?
Movies.
Wow. Okay. Fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction.
And I think let's go to the last part of that rapid fire. If you had to choose between Nana Sule and Alhal Isnam, who would you choose?
This one is so tough.
Yes.
So tough.
You have to choose one person. I don't want consideration, like just one person.
And I have to.
Yes, you have to choose Nana Sule or Alhal Islam.
Yeah, they're my favorite. Both of them.
No.
I'll go with Alhaj.
Definitely, I know that's who you're going to be choosing. And I think it takes me to my last question. Between your civic roles, writing, and performance, how do you stay grounded and consistent in your creative process?
So the creative process is a whirlwind. It's a whirlwind because you can go a week writing poems every day, and then you can go a month with no muse. But I think one of the most important things to remember is your identity is always there, and the world is ready to hear you wherever you need to speak. So I think that remembering all these things keeps you grounded, and especially when you have, I think for creatives, it's important to be intentional. Being intentional, treating literature like any other project. I think that's what I learned. I crossed over from my civic roles advocacy into the creative space, because the civic roles, they need planning. We are still in the planning stages of pace, so they need intentionality and they need planning. So if you can bring some of that intentionality and planning into your creative process, sometimes you have to force things. You can start a poem and 5 lines, you don't feel like you want to write it anymore. But sometimes you have to push. And with books as well, prose is very, very hard to keep up with. But if you can bring some of that intentionality and planning, I think it will help you be grounded.
What's next for Ali Lawan?
Global Shapers.
I want to send over to first. Like, is there any project we should be expecting, a book or an initiative that you think is coming?
So yeah, because that's the next step in the civic aspect. I recently got accepted into the Abuja Hub, and we are looking forward to so many more projects. But if you're asking about literature, then you should be expecting more poetry, more prose. I'm not going to let up on either of them.
How do you handle creative block?
Creative block. So I handle them very differently for the two genres, for poetry and for prose. For poetry, I really don't have a concrete way. I actually wait for the muse. I actually really need to connect with my emotions and my environment in order to write. So when that doesn't happen, I just try to, remove that. Instead of mental block, you go for a walk, maybe a friend, just kind of free yourself. The words are actually inside you. There's just something perhaps that's stopping them from coming out. For prose, I don't really pay much attention to the mental side because I just like, I sound 200 words, but sometimes it doesn't work as well. And you have to read it like what you have to clear your head. So it's all about connecting with yourself. It's all about freeing and maybe have some
good being here today, being able to meet everybody. Everybody's come out and made us very, very welcome wherever we've stopped. I think it's really important that we challenge the narrative that's playing out on social media about the insecurity that's here. So it's here.
In fact, you have come at a time because all the negative people are saying out there is quite different from what people on the ground you can see they are gradually coming back, which shows community resilience, which shows workability of the peace increase with other groups that we are already in relations, friends, and same community. Something went wrong, and now we understood what we need to do, and things have started coming back to normal. Thanks be to Almighty God and effort of almost everybody in the society. I believe you can see it yourself. Agreement has been reached whereby hostilities have already been ceased. People will gradually go back to their communities and look for the normal livelihoods, going back to the farm, going to the mini trades, some other skills that are locally based, so that the local economy, local peace, local development can continue from where it stopped previously. Well, in Hausa, there is a saying that even tongue and teeth do get some misunderstanding. Sometimes teeth will just match the tongue. So also if you are staying in a community, even within your family, sometimes you do get something that may not go down well with the other, in the same house, the same family. So that's what it is, and it's normal to human community. It's normal to human beings. Just as peace scholars are saying, conflict is necessary, conflict is unavoidable, but can also generate chance for development as well as progress. So people have understood that being in peace is better than whatever people will continue to do otherwise. So peace has gradually returned, and people are coming back to their localities. People are picking up the pieces of their lives that were broken previously. Now you can see them very happy. See the children, see the married women here, and the husbands are here. So we too, we are all happy. And we praise the Almighty that has allowed us to reach this moment, and we are hoping for more in the nearest future.
We call them Community Watch Corps, that is CWC. They are introduced by this administration of Mr. Malan Dako Murada, just a year ago. That's our idea for quite a long time. And when you produce these people, we have seen a lot of difference for their work. We have seen a lot of progress because they were able to combat this banditry within the shortest possible time by attacking the informants, because that is the root cause of everything that happened. That people that report in and out, and if there's there. So we have seen a significant change when they started, and I think that is the architecture of what happened today, because they were afraid to the extent that they have to come and look for negotiation, and that is what we have done, and that is what we are enjoying for quite a long time now.
We spent the last few hours in Asari local government here in Kutsanda State in northern Nigeria. We were invited to come and see what the security situation was like after interviewing the governor. I met the Honorary Commissioner for the Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, and we came to Butsari to meet with members of the Community Watch Corps, a local initiative where local people are recruited in order to fight banditry locally. Now, the reason it seems to be quite successful is they're recruited from the local population, they know the area, they know how to get around. And one of the things that became really obvious today, standing in the crowd, a very warm welcome from people. Lots of people have experienced banditry, is the fact that they are amongst the local population. I could have been standing next to someone that was involved in that. I think the story that was most interesting for me was talking to a local imam who had actually been kidnapped himself by the bandits. His family had been kidnapped, his wife, his children. He'd been to pay ransom to get his children back, and then they kidnapped him again. And he actually saw one of them, unrepentant, sitting as a member of his congregation on Friday. I felt it was important that we came here today with our colleagues to tell you what it's actually like on the streets of Asari and Ruma, where we were visiting. People came out, going about their daily business, women, children, people going about their commerce on newly constructed roads as part of infrastructure projects. So, no matter what you hear and see on social media, this is me reporting live from Asari. John Costa for S24.